Immediately after the first 5 books of the Bible, we come across the 12 historical books. The Old Testament historical books include Joshua through Esther. These books tell stories of God's chosen people, how God was so faithful to them and brought them into the land He promised them, and how even in their disobedience He continued to help them. The 6th book of the Bible is Joshua. In this book, Moses' assistant Joshua becomes the leader of Israel, and the Israelites go in to take the land that was promised by God. After taking some of the land, they divided it up, and Joshua gave an encouraging and instructing speech about serving God. Near the end of the book, the death of Joshua is recorded. This book includes the popular story of the Battle of Jericho. Judges is the 7th book of the Bible. This book tells of how Israel did many evil things and angered God again and again, including doing things like not completely taking over the promised land as directed. Again and again, God sent leaders, called judges, to step up and help Israel. Some of these leaders were Deborah, Gideon, and Samson. Ruth is the 8th book of the Bible. It tells the story of a foreign woman who was loyal to the Israelite family she married into, and she ended up becoming the great-grandmother of King David. 1 Samuel is the 9th book of the Bible. It begins with the story of a man named Samuel, who was both judge and prophet, and went on to make Saul the first king of Israel, and later anoint David as the second king. This book tells the story of David and Saul during the time that Saul was king. Samuel dies in chapter 25, and the book ends with the death of Saul. 2 Samuel, the 10th book of the Bible, goes on to tell the story of David becoming king and things that happened during his reign. 1 Kings is the 11th book of the Bible. It tells the story of the 3rd king of Israel, David's son Solomon. Solomon became very wise, and he loved God, but he had many wives who ended up turning him towards false gods. Because of this, Israel became divided, with David's family only ruling over a portion of Israel. This book goes on to tell of the kings that reigned over the divided kingdom of Israel and Judah. And 2 Kings, the 12th book of the Bible, continues this. It also includes the stories of Assyria taking Israel into exile and Babylon taking Judah into exile as well. Both books also include stories of the prophets Elijah and Elisha. 1st and 2nd Chronicles, the 13th and 14th books of the Bible, give similar information to the stories before it. It starts with genealogies and then goes on to tell of the kings, including David, Solomon, and more. Near the end of 2nd Chronicles, it tells of the destruction of the temple and the wall of Jerusalem. It also tells of God's people being taken into captivity by Babylon and eventually Persia. Ezra is the 15th book of the Bible. In this book, God's people were able to come out of captivity in order to build him a temple in Jerusalem, although many people wanted to stop them. Another thing that was noted in this book is that Ezra was the priest, and he pointed the people to God. Nehemiah is the 16th book of the Bible. In this book, the governor Nehemiah, along with others, were able to rebuild the wall of Jerusalem and inhabit the city. The law was read, and people were pointed towards the will of God. Esther is the 17th book of the Bible. It's about a Jewish girl named Esther, who became queen of Persia at just the right time. Through risking her life, God used her to save the Jewish people from destruction.